This is your Akashic Records reading for today. Take what resonates. My guides gave me a very specific type of reading for a specific group in this collective. So if this is you, you're definitely going to want to save this reading. Make sure you put a comment here of how it resonated for you and feel free to ask any questions. This is for a collective who is wanting to leave their current job. 9 to 5 could be a possibility, but the role they're currently in, wanting to move into a job that I would say is more of a heart-centered career. I'm going to take this as being somewhere in the spiritual field. That could be a coach, a reader, a healer. Of the guides that I work with has come forth as really wanting to help lead in this reading. So I'm going to let you know I've already pulled the cards that are going to be brought forth in this reading. This is going to be a longer reading as well. So please feel free to save it for later if you're not able to watch the whole thing. So the first thing we're really getting here is answers unfold and also planning phase. So what I know to be true from being a spiritual business coach, helping people move from their regular job and then branching all the way into doing a job that's very heart-centered, is to know that if this is your highest intention and this is what you desire and you feel intuitively that's the direction you want to go in, the first thing you want to know is being open and then connecting with your heart and also with your guides in order to get the clear information you need to know what direction to go in. That takes time. And also it takes a regular discipline to check in at least a few times a week. The next part of this is the planning phase. First of all, really being clear on who do you want to serve? The people that you want to work with or have as clients, what stage are they in on their path or their journey? And sometimes that takes some finesse. The next thing the guides were talking to me about is being resilient, the shield of resilience. So this means that knowing it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So knowing that you have a long-term vision, that this is what you want, is really what it takes. And I know this because when I work with my students and clients, one of the biggest things I say to them is let go of all your expectations and try to remember this is not a race, it's a journey. The next thing is really finding your place spiritually. So spiritual retreat can really look like having a daily practice where you are connecting with your intuition, your guides, and also you're able to get guidance and information just to help you, give you balance, perspective, and also to possibly give you direction on next steps. The next we got was the feather of hope. And that really for me is when we're asking our loved ones, our guides, to really give us signs, synchronicities, and symbols that are going to help us and encourage us, but also give us guidance. The next thing that came through with this card is honest echoes. So that to me looks a lot like being really honest with yourself about what you want to do, who you want to serve, how often you want to show up, and then working forward with some kind of a game plan, which might involve education, guidance, or a mentor, and a plan of some sort. But remember, sometimes we really have to be willing to not copy what other people are doing or thinking that there's only one way to do it, but getting information on all the different avenues. And when I work with my clients, this is what we focus on. Next, we pulled the tarot, and this is where it got really interesting. So I asked my guide specifically to show whatever information is the most relevant for you on this journey. And the biggest thing that he came forth with is this: the Six of Swords and the Three of Swords. This really represents a great transition from where you are now and where you want to end up. But knowing along the way, you're going to be going definitely through doubt, understanding of what you thought it meant to have the type of business you want, and also guidance. And part of that is a process of healing possibly parts of yourself that have been in a place of being comfortable, playing it safe, and also trying to fit in with society and peer expectations. So that's something you want to really consider along this path. The other thing is there's definitely something here about releasing money blocks that you have. And the thing about this takes time. We have a certain understanding of how we relate to money, our mindset about making money, what we've done in the past, but also how we can learn to invite in having a different relationship with the energy of money and what it means to earn money. And if there are things within that are out of balance, that will show up in your work. And especially if you're creating a business, I've never done that for the first time. This is what they're saying to me. So that's where in the work that I do, we really work on our beliefs around our relationship with money and about what it means to create a prosperous income and a steady, stable income. So that's a deep dive. And that takes time. And speaking of taking time, we got two of the pages here. We got the page of cups, and then we also got the page of wands. And what this is really saying to me in this reading and looking at your Akashic records in this collective is that you really want to have a learner's mind. That's something I really heard. And a learner's mind, a learner's heart, a learner's energy and passion means that we're moving past perfection, that we are teachable, that we are willing to try different things and not worried about failure or making mistakes or disappointing people. All those things create a lot of tension, and it makes it much more difficult to get everything integrated, both with, let's say, for example, you're needing to, incorporate either something you do as far as whether it's a healing modality or you're doing readings or you're doing coaching or you have some kind of a physical offer, those things you're going to have to learn along the way what's involved in the process. Then the beautiful part is the development of doing your own business. Now, this is the thing. The bridge I mentioned in the beginning that they were showing me so clearly from where you are to where you want to go. That is that traveling journey of developing whatever you're going to be offering, who you're going to work with, and then moving into how do I do this as a business in a solid way that feels aligned. And then what's my long-term goal? Troubleshooting. In the beginning, you're going to have to know that it's going to take time. I always say I'm releasing a program in February, and I'm going to be working with my clients for 6 months to a year creating these businesses, right? So stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in getting more information, feel free to just put a comment here. But going from learning something or doing a modality or whatever it is you're offering, and then moving it across across the bridge of being comfortable doing it and working with clients, learning about developing long-term relationships with clients, building that, but also being comfortable with all the back-end tech parts of business, mindset. That's many steps, right? But know that you're in the development of that. That's what you'll go through. The Knight of Wands is passionate, excited, eager, but he also has to be mature and develop. And there are bumps along the way, right? It's not easy. And self-awareness comes in the middle with the Queen of Wands. And then we have the King of Wands at the end. And he's really there to say, I've got this. I'll light the way. I have the experience. I have the knowledge. I have the wisdom in order to make this happen. So it's a journey. And then the final card, which was so great, is the World card that came through. And this is showing completion. So trust what you're getting. Put yourself forward and learn the things. You can look at the things I mentioned, and also feel free to reach out if you want to get some more information, guidance on how to do this. That's what I love to do. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. All right, take care.